Welcome to the Tattooed Truth Podcast with Anna Love, a space for embodied conversations for soul-led rebels. I'm your host, Anna Love, intuitive empowerment coach, subconscious healing guide, and no stranger to burning it all down to rise in truth. Here we dive deep into identity, healing, personal power, and what it really takes to lead a soul-aligned life. You'll hear unfiltered insights, real stories, and live coaching sessions with bold callers ready to break free and embody their next level. This is your invitation to reclaim your voice, rewire your patterns, and rise fully expressed. Let's get into it. Welcome in. So happy you've joined us here. So today we're going to be talking about healing versus hustling. And no amount of hustle will override a subconscious belief that you're not enough. Yeah, let that set in. It's because so many of us are running ourselves into the ground. And we've been taught this. We've been taught to prove our worth through our titles, through our bank accounts, through our homes, through our friendships. And I've talked about this on another episode, but really today we're going to look at burnout and what to do about it. And really, why do we hustle? Well, look at from the time that we are in even preschool or kindergarten, and we in many, many schools are taught to do well, right? I mean, and there's nothing wrong with like doing well, right? I'm not saying we shouldn't teach our kids to do well, but we are not taught how to be in alignment with ourselves. There's not that many schools out there, maybe a few because it's 2025, maybe a few are talking about, relaxing and meditating and maybe doing a little yoga inside the classroom, but we're not talking to kids about feeling in alignment. And if I had my way, which I guess I could if I really wanted to, I would make the school systems completely different, where kids are actually studying and applying themselves to the subjects that they are most drawn to, right? What is their inner compass pulling them towards? Because they tell us that that's our true purpose. Whatever that we're interested in between the years of 8 years old and 14, that's probably going to point us in the direction of fulfillment. And the schools are also, they're giving grades based on achievement as opposed to giving grades based, like not at all, or if you had to, based on effort, right? So this right here is indoctrinated into us from a very, very young age. And what it creates is a society where we are hustling and ignoring or overriding our nervous system and what it feels like to actually feel good about learning. And after we go through school, then we're really just, formed into that adult version of us, and we just continue on through our jobs. And there's a select few of us that see the trap and know how to get out of it. But not a lot of us do, to be quite honest. A lot of us are in that hamster wheel, that rat race, the going on and on and on and feeling unhappy. Why are you feeling unhappy? For all the reasons that I just named. So if it's not more doing, because I'm a proponent of let's not do, what is it then? And it's about being. How are you being? And you can be in your body, right? How are you being? You can still produce results. You can still make money. You can still make an impact in the world, right? But it's a different feeling inside your body. And it's all about the nervous system and the subconscious programming. So let's dive into that. When we rewire our nervous system, we are giving ourselves freedom. We are keeping ourselves in a state of regulation where when we are in that state of regulation, we are the most creative version of ourselves. And creativity and imagination, that's where we thrive. That's where we are drawn or we are pulled to our true purpose, whatever it may be. And everyone has a purpose. And it may overlap with somebody else. I can't tell you the number of coaches that are out there That doesn't matter. I'm my own unique coach and I have my own unique flavor because I have my own unique personality. And as long as I'm not out there comparing myself or worrying about what other people are doing, I feel really grounded in what I'm doing. I feel very aligned in the fact that I need to talk to women and sometimes men, right? Some men are drawn to my messaging too, but really I am talking to the woman who feels burnt out, who feels like she's just running her life based on other people's, versions of what success looks like, and it leads to burnout. When our nervous system is not in alignment, we do things like self-sabotage. We do things like procrastinate, right? We do things like avoid or use vices to get through. Those are red flags that we are not in alignment and that we are hustling. And I've had friends who have done this, right? Where they came over for happy hour, but they're still working on their computers. I was married to someone who was like addicted to the next thing and the next thing and building and building and building. And while it's not a bad thing, I'm not knocking anyone personally. And I'm just saying, usually that's a red flag that there's an imbalance. And it's also a red flag that that person is making decisions and living their life not in a regulated state. That means they are in a state of scarcity, wanting more, having to do more, I never have enough, or fear of missing out, right? Oh, I got to create this business or I got to go to this meeting and I can't relax and I can't take time for myself, right? So ask yourself, are you doing these things? Are you finding that you're not giving yourself time for you? Time to just sit and relax. I mean, truly relax, not zone out watching TV, but maybe playing tennis, maybe reading a book, right? Maybe just walking in the forest or taking a nice walk, maybe relaxing with friends and socializing instead of always another thing and another thing. And I will raise my hand that I've been guilty of this too, because in the beginning years of my coaching, I was in a scarcity mindset because I didn't feel grounded about like how to gain clients. And so I was out there like buying this and buying that and hiring this person and hiring that person and setting all these things up. And I had to get it done, and when you work for yourself, the sky is the limit. Like you don't have a punch card where you're clocking in and out, but you also have to really monitor how much are you working. And even when I started Tiny Chefs back in the day in 2007, I remember after I quit teaching in 2008, I remember working 16-hour days. And the only thing that I would do outside of build Tiny Chefs was go to the gym. And obviously, like, take care of myself, my hygiene and my needing to eat nourishment needs. But, 16 hours a day. And the only thing I would do for me was the gym. And, I'd say that's a little bit off balance. I could have been doing, some more relaxation. And I remember getting pregnant in 2010 and I was like, I have to rest. Like this body needs to rest. And that's when I started to finally tap in and say like, look, I'm not in alignment with myself here. And by the way, back then, 2010, I didn't know anything about the nervous system. So I wasn't doing like real deep dive work. I was just listening to my body and saying, I have to rest. I mean, I was growing a baby. So that there's something there for me. I was like, okay, you have to rest. But now I know a lot more about the nervous system and how to regulate it, the different tools that we can gain. And we can just pull out these tools anytime we want to. And then really diving deep into the root and the cause for this hustle mentality in ourself. And so that is in our past. That is, what's called shadow work. That is sitting somewhere on our timeline. And I do different techniques, NLP techniques called the timeline therapy, where we go back and we retrieve where are you dealing with this limiting belief? Where are you feeling a negative emotion? And let's go ahead and rewrite it, right? Let's change the meaning. And then it removes the charge. It removes the negativity or the anger or the frustration or the guilt or anything around events that are going to come up for you in the future, right? So there are things out there that can change your hustle mentality, because let me tell you, if you think that you're just going to like listen to this podcast and then just go along your way and be like, you know what? I'm not going to hustle anymore. That's not going to work. You have to dig a little bit deeper, right? Or you have to shift your nervous system, or both. Dig deeper and shift your nervous system. That way it's done on a subconscious level. And that's where the healing is. Because consciously we can tell ourselves anything, can't we? I'm sure we tell ourselves things all day long. Doesn't mean we're going to do them, doesn't mean we're going to follow through more than one or two times. It's not sustainable. Why? Because we're going to forget. We're going to get overrun. Our nervous system is going to kick back in again. And those same things that are wired in, fear, scarcity, whatever it is for you, that's going to get triggered again. And it's going to take you down, right? It's going to override your conscious thought of, oh, I didn't want to do this. And it's going to go, guess what? Guess what we're going to do again. So until you regulate yourself inside your body, until you do that deep inner work, you're just on autopilot and you're just going to be going through the motions. And how are you ever going to get out? And for me, it's about living in joy. It's about thriving. We don't have to be at a perfect 10 of joy every single moment, but we can be damn close to it. There could be an element of excitement, an element of creativity, right? Just like this zest for life. You could be in your flow. That to me is where it's at. That's where I want to be. And I want to be surrounded by people who are in their flow, right? Because it's just a connection. It's a vibrancy. And I find myself drawn to people who are doing this inner work. So first off, it's getting aware and getting present in your current moment, right? Not living in the past, not worrying too much about the future, reconnecting with yourself in the present moment and creating that security from the inside out, creating that safety, creating that groundedness so that the hustle can never take you down. So ask yourself just where in your life, if any place, are you hustling to prove versus slowing down to connect with yourself? Where is that occurring for you? And give it a really good thought. So let's look at some of the limiting beliefs that you might be struggling with today. I already named one of the biggest ones. I am not enough. Okay, another one is it's not available to me. These are the three top ones. It's not available to me. That means they can have it, but I can't, right? I'm not enough means, think about that. If you feel like you're not enough, how are you ever going to fill that void up? Where's the finish line? And the third one is I don't belong. I don't fit in. Right? Watching other people do things. And I know I've had all three of these limiting beliefs plague me in my life before, where I wouldn't go join things because I told myself that I didn't belong there. Or I saw other people having millions of dollars. And while I'm not there today, I believe that I can. And I'm creating my nervous system to be able to hold that type of money. But when you come from a family who was in poverty, you don't feel worthy of holding large amounts of money. So I've had to deal with that. And of course, I'm not enough. I think everyone feels that at some point in their life because we're constantly trying to prove that we can, be the best for somebody else rather than for ourselves. But I don't feel that anymore. That's not a story that I relate with anymore. So, and I definitely used to deal with procrastination, the people pleasing, the self-sabotaging behaviors with like drinking alcohol just to numb. Did all those things. I don't do any of those anymore. I'm happy to say I am a reformed people pleaser. I do not procrastinate. I get right to it. I actually choose the hardest thing to do first, right? Because I've regulated my nervous system. I've done inner work on where did all of these limiting beliefs come from in the first place. And I changed up the meaning. And now when I see something, that resembles, something from the past, I know how to go right through that without it affecting me. This stuff is real. I swear by it. So looking at what different ways to help ourselves, like I said in the toolbox, like there could be breath work, and that's a somatic healing, right? There can be meditation. There could be hypnotherapy. There could be NLP practices. There could be EFT tapping that regulates your nervous system really quickly. There's all kinds of tools that I can work with you on, or I can give you. If you keep following me, then I will be talking about these things on my social media. So, healing unlocks abundance. And if you are looking for abundance, which a lot of people are looking for to have an abundant life, right? Even if it's abundant friends or having, you know, connections that are just loving and just in depthful, or if you're looking for, a big trip, maybe you want to spend money on trips. I love to travel. Maybe you're looking for abundance like me to help other people and put it into a nonprofit or give it to somebody or teach somebody something. The only way you're going to have access to that abundance is through healing, doing this deep inner work. Otherwise, it's just another day, another day gone, and we've done nothing with this, and we haven't reached our abundance. So, when we rewire these patterns, they just open doors to anything and everything that is available to us. So, I know that, this topic and this work can feel really big and feel really challenging and somewhat overwhelming if we haven't done any of the work. So I've created a program called the Rewire Code, and that's something that helps you shift a little bit at a time because I believe that if you just take one little baby step per day, what's going to happen in 30 days or 21 days? You're going to be that much further. And the shift happens so gradually. It's like your nails growing, your hair growing, right? If you nourish your body and your nails are going to grow nice and your hair is going to grow long. Okay. Same thing when you change and do this inner work. It's a little bit at a time. I'm not asking you to flip the table on your entire life and say, okay, we need to do something about career today. And then we need to do something about my health today. And we need to do something about my finances today. We need to do something about my relationship today. No, you pick one place and you go from there and you do the inner work a little bit at a time. And the next thing you know, you've mastered a new skill, you've gotten past something really deep, and you realize that you've opened up to yourself. And for me, that is when we have that true connection with ourself, that's where the real healing is. And then there is no more hustle. So I'll leave on that note, and I cannot wait to hear your opinions on this, and I will talk to you in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Tattoo Truth Podcast. If this episode lit something up in you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, leave a review, and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a truth bomb. If you're craving deeper support, guided healing, or a space to reclaim your voice and power, check the show notes for ways to work with me. Remember, your truth is not too loud, too bold, or too much. It's exactly what this world needs. Keep showing up, stay wild, stay true. I'll see you next time.